On Friday, January 17, 2014, Governor Jerry Brown proclaimed a state of emergency and directed officials to take action and prepare for drought conditions. The Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors also joined the state and proclaimed a local drought emergency with a call for an immediate voluntary 20% water reduction by residents. But what is a drought exactly? How much water do we have and where do we get it from? It is the job of water districts to supply water needs to a community. The primary sources of water in Santa Barbara County are reservoirs, groundwater basins, and state water. The water from these sources is delivered through various tunnels and pipelines and eventually to your home or business.
Santa Barbara County has 4 major reservoirs. Cachuma Reservoir, there's Gibraltar upstream from Cachuma, and then upstream from that is Jameson Reservoir, which is owned and operated by Montecito Water District. On the North County, straddling Santa Barbara County and San Luis Obispo, is Twitchell Reservoir. This river flows into it, and it is used exclusively for groundwater recharge of the Santa Maria groundwater basin.
On the extreme years, when Cachuma does fill and starts to spill, the water will exit right from the dam here behind us. This is a gated spillway. What actually happens is the lake doesn't overflow. The gates actually rise and the water flows underneath. And most of our lakes and reservoirs on the San Ynez River operate that way. It's called a gated spillway.
Groundwater is extremely important because it's kind of the last line of defense against water shortages.
The groundwater basins are critical to our water supply picture. Not only do they provide our ultimate drought buffer, if all of our surface water reservoirs are dry, like Gibraltar went dry in 1990, if the state water project imports are cut severely, ultimately our groundwater is our last line of defense for supplying water to our urban customers. Also is the major supply of water for our farming agricultural business in the county. The Coastal Aqueduct brings water into the county at Santa Maria, providing water to communities along the way, and ultimately puts water into Cachuma Lake for delivery to the South Coast. Using that water allows us to draft our surface water reservoirs lighter, allows us to use less groundwater, and in some cases, in the Santa Maria Valley, once that state water is used, it's ultimately returned to the groundwater basin, therefore resupplying our groundwater basin as well.
To understand where we are today, we need to understand what a drought is. Droughts are a normal, recurring feature of climate where there is reduced precipitation over an extended period of time, resulting in a water shortage for people or the environment. For the past 3 years, Santa Barbara County has received less than a normal amount of rainfall, receiving 66% of normal rainfall in 2012 and only 46% in 2013, which is one of the top 5 driest years in many areas of the county. As of January 2014, we have received only 14% of our normal rainfall. 3 consecutive years of low rainfall have resulted in very little water flowing into our water supply reservoirs. As of January 2014, Cachuma Reservoir is at 39% capacity, Jameson Reservoir is at 27%, and Gibraltar is at 5%. By comparison, in January of 2013, Cachuma Reservoir was at 68%, Jameson was at 49%, and Gibraltar was at 33%. If Lake Cachuma gets below 30% capacity, water will no longer flow via gravity into the tunnel that brings water to the south coast, forcing dam operators to take emergency actions and pump water into the tunnels from a barge on the lake.
It's been said that the ideal animal for this area is a camel with gills. And the reason for that is because it tends to be extremely wet or extremely dry, and normal or average years are essentially unheard of.
There could be a period of 2 to 3 years where we're entering into a low rainfall period, and then as we're into the 2nd or 3rd year, we realize this is a drought situation. So as far as water supply planning, we need to be very diverse in our water supplies and how we manage them, because we can't just rely on rainfall to fill up Lake Cachuma to provide the water for the South Coast year in and year out.
We do have our surface water reservoirs, which rely on weather patterns that affect typically Southern California. We have the State Water Project that imports water from Northern California. So we are impacted in that water supply by weather patterns in Northern California. But then we also have our groundwater basins, which are ultimately what we rely on in significant droughts.
We're always managing our water supply to maximize the reliability to the community.
Living in an environment that is sedimentary rock and having reservoirs that are in stream means that sedimentation and loss of capacity in reservoirs is going to be a consistent problem.
In the last very significant drought period of the mid-'80s to early '90s, Lake Cachuma was below 20%. Gibraltar Reservoir was empty.
Conservation is a basic element of water supply and water management. It should be focused on and conducted on a consistent basis, and not just when we enter a dry period.
The cheapest, most reliable, fastest way to increase supply is to become more efficient.
Part of the governor's declaration, as well as the county's, includes a call for an immediate voluntary 20% water reduction by residents. There are many actions each of us can take to reduce water use during these extraordinarily dry times. Here are a few.
Hopefully, over time, everyone will have an efficient toilet.
Older toilets use between 3.5 and 7 gallons per flush. New and high-efficiency toilets use between 1.3 to 1.6 gallons per flush. You can cut your toilet water use by 55 to 80% by replacing your old toilet.
The next time you buy a clothes washer, get a high-efficiency clothes washer.
Energy Star clothes washers use 70% less energy and 75% less water than a standard washer 20 years ago.
There's new types of shower heads that use a lot less water than the standard shower heads.
Older shower heads use between 5 to 8 gallons per minute, while WaterSense shower heads use no more than 2 gallons per minute. You can reduce shower water use by 50 to 75% by installing a WaterSense shower head and cutting down on your shower time.
Your dishwasher, get an Energy Star rated low water use dishwasher.
The average household does 215 dishwasher loads per year. Most conventional dishwashers use about 10 gallons per load, while Energy Star models use 5 gallons per load.
There are all sorts of different types of recirculating hot water systems that will recirculate hot water.
With recirculating systems, you no longer have to wait for cold water to run through a faucet before it gets hot.
5 really good tips that everyone should do. Whether you have an inline irrigation system or you're watering with a hose and a sprinkler, you've got to make sure that you water like plants with similar needs on the same zone. So water your lawns separately from your fruit trees and from your border plants, and that makes good sense. If you have an irrigation system that runs with a clock and comes on automatically, vitally important that you actually look at it during the daytime. Once a month, go out, turn it on, play in your sprinklers, take the kids with you, whatever it takes, but you've got to see if it's set correctly, if it's watering just the landscape, that it's not broken. If you have a controller that's automated your system, obviously my first advice would be to put a smart irrigation controller in. Next phase from that would be to make sure that you at least have a rain shutoff sensor, and everyone, no matter how old your controller is, really needs to change the backup battery. It's usually a 9-volt battery inside of your clock, and that's what remembers your programs when the power goes out. There are some wonderful ideas out there on water efficient and water wise plants. You can go on to the sbwater.org site, look at the water wise plants of Santa Barbara County, and it has 2,000 plants and garden pictures, and they're all much less water, at least 50% less water than what your existing lawn is using.
I think it's important for county residents to use our water resources efficiently, because water is life, and you'll never realize how important it is till you don't have it. And all the way from your brushing your teeth in the morning to cooking your food to washing your clothes, Water is one of the most important elements of maintaining a standard of living and also maintaining quality of life. And so it has to be used efficiently.